Does the Bible say everything happens for a reason? Does the Bible say everything happens for a reason? The Bible does not explicitly state that everything happens for a reason. However, there are numerous passages throughout the Bible that suggest that God is active in all aspects of life and that He works for the betterment of those who love Him. These passages indicate that, even in difficult and challenging times, God is still working in the lives of believers to bring about a greater good. Throughout the Bible, there are multiple examples of how God can use difficult circumstances to bring about a greater outcome, such as the sufferings of Joseph, the faith of Job, and the redemption of David. Additionally, the Bible encourages us to trust in the Lord's ultimate plan and purpose, even when we are unable to see how He is working in our lives. Does the Bible say everything happens for a reason? Have you ever been through a difficult time in your life and wondered why it had to happen? Or have you been blessed with something and wondered about the reason for it? Have you ever asked yourself if everything that happens has a reason or if it's just a matter of chance? Many of us turn to the Bible to find answers to these questions. We're curious to know what the Bible says about why things happen and whether or not we can expect everything to have a reason. In this blog post, we'll explore the Bible's teachings on these topics and answer the question, does the Bible say everything happens for a reason? What does the Bible say about why things happen? The Bible is clear that God is in control of everything that happens. In Proverbs 16:33, the Bible says, "The lot is cast into the lap, but its every decision is from the Lord." If God is in control, then it stands to reason that He has a plan for everything. The Bible says that God works all things together for the good of those who love Him. Romans 8:28. This means that even when we don't understand why something happens, God knows the purpose and will use it for our benefit. Does the Bible say everything happens for a reason? The Bible does not explicitly say that everything happens for a reason. However, it does talk about how God has a purpose for everything and how He works all things for good. In Isaiah 55:8-9, the Bible says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways and my thoughts than your thoughts." God's thoughts and plans are very different from ours, and sometimes we don't understand why something happens. But the Bible does tell us that God is in control and that He has a plan for everything. So, while the Bible does not explicitly say that everything happens for a reason, it does tell us that God has a purpose for everything that happens. Bible steps to take to affect the outcomes in this world. Pray without ceasing. Prayer is one of the most important steps we can take to affect the outcomes in this world. Praying to God and asking for His guidance, protection, and wisdom can help us to make wise decisions and to lead in a way that honors Him. Praying for others and for the world can also help us to positively impact the lives of those around us. Read the Bible daily. The Bible is the ultimate source of truth and wisdom for believers. Reading the Bible and studying it so that we can know what God's will is for our lives can help us to make decisions that are in line with His desires and plans. Be a light in the darkness. As Christians, we are called to be a light in the darkness. We should be striving to show the love of Christ to those around us. We should also be actively working to fight against injustice and to bring hope and healing to those in need. Reach out to others. We should be actively seeking out opportunities to share the gospel with those who do not yet know Jesus. We should also be actively looking for ways to serve and meet the needs of those in our community. Live a life of holiness. We should strive to live lives that are pleasing to God. We should be actively seeking after righteousness and avoiding sin. We should also be taking steps to remove any negative influences that may be in our lives. Trust in God. Trusting in the Lord is essential in order to affect the outcomes in this world. We should be trusting that He is in control and that He will work to bring about His will in our lives and in the world. We should also trust that He will provide for our needs and help us to do what is right. Does God allow things to happen? The question of whether God allows things to happen has perplexed many religious people for centuries. The concept of divine providence, which states that God is in control of all things, is often used to explain why some things happen and not others. But this raises the question, does God have a particular plan in mind and is He actively involved in the unfolding of events? Or is He simply allowing natural laws to take their course? This debate has been going on for thousands of years, and the answer remains elusive. However, there is an emerging consensus among theologians that God does indeed allow things to happen, but that it is done in accordance with His will and for a higher purpose. Examples in the Bible of righteous people that actions changed history. Abraham was a righteous man from Ur of the Chaldeans who changed history by following God's call of faith and obedience. Through Abraham, God established His covenant between Him and all mankind, which began the lineage of Jesus Christ. Abraham also showed us the importance of trusting and obeying God, no matter the cost. Moses was a great man of faith who led the Israelites out of Egypt and delivered them to the promised land. He was obedient to God's commands and showed us that faith in God and His promises can bring about great change. His story is an example of how one man's faith can alter the course of history. King David. As a young shepherd, King David defeated the giant Goliath and became one of the most powerful kings of Israel. He was a man of faith and righteousness who showed us the importance of courage and trust in God's promises. King David's legacy still lives on and is an example of the power of one person to change the course of history. Esther. Esther was a brave and wise queen of Persia who saved the Jewish people from destruction. Through her courage and faith, she was able to influence the king and save her people from genocide. Her example of faith, courage, and obedience have been a source of inspiration for generations. Mary was a young virgin who was chosen by God to be the mother of Jesus. She was obedient and faithful to God's commands, and her actions changed the course of history by giving birth to the Messiah. Mary's example of faith and obedience is an example for all of us to follow. Have fun, Greg. Father, grandfather, minister, missionary, deacon, elder, author, welcome to our family. View all posts.